Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Max Muhl of Rochester Boys Basketball. How's it going?
Good, thanks for having me.
Okay, so how is the year going so far?
It's going pretty well. We are, I believe, 7-1 in the league and 9-4 overall record. Last season we had 8 wins. The season before that, my freshman year, we had 5 wins. To already have nine around halfway mark of the season is very incredible for us.
Yeah. Um, I mean, to have the year that you guys are having, what is that like to just see like the progression that you guys have made, especially since especially the last few years?
It's very, very good. We have a bunch of now second year varsity guys who were first years last year, and really just seeing all of us, all of our games mature together. And then that with the trust of the coaches and everything, the whole program is doing very well. So this is a very big year for us.
Yeah. So as a junior, what is it like to kind of get, a more of a bigger role within the program?
It's a blessing. As a junior, it's my third year on varsity though. Freshman year, I didn't. I only played, I want to say 8 games due to injuries. I broke my wrist and then I broke four of my fingers. And then sophomore year was my first kind of year as the kind of the captain of the ship. We had a bunch of older guys, so it was hard to get them to fully trust me at first. But to go on during the season, it was they started to come around to it. And then this year, I feel the support and the trust of all my teammates and coaches. So it's much easier to step into that role as a player.
Okay. So let's go back to your freshman year a little bit. What was that like? If you can remember and go back, I gotta ask you, like, what was that like for you to know that I don't know how old were you at the time, but what was that like to know that, hey, we're gonna put you on varsity as a freshman? What was I don't know if you were 14 or 15. But what was 14, 15-year-old Max like when he found out he
Uh,
was gonna be on varsity?
no, yeah, he was thrilled. Yeah, that's what I worked for all coming up to that season. So he was very, very happy to hear that. And then obviously once that started though, I injured my wrist and then my fingers. So that was kind of almost a blessing and a curse. Obviously curse I can't play, but then a blessing to kind of just be able to see that first year almost just to watch and observe and take everything I can just to learn to come back that next year, be stronger. It's all about like perspective and how you see it. So it's very good.
So you're a point guard. Um,
Yes, sir.
but what because I know it's obviously because a point guard you have to be on it all the time. You're calling plays out and all that stuff. But you were telling me earlier that you kind of were a quiet kid, just normally. And what was that like? Because trying to make that jump from to be more outgoing and stuff like that. Was that hard for you to at first to try to get it? And what were some of the struggles you had with that?
Yeah, that was definitely hard at first to get it. I kind of had just speaking with other coaches and especially college coaches at the next level. That is kind of as the point guard, that is you're the captain of the ship, so that's the biggest role on the floor. You have to be almost a second coach. So to be more outgoing and vocal was definitely a thing that I going into high school, that freshman, some of that sophomore year, I wasn't really comfortable with or I wasn't good at. But I kind of realized to take my game almost to that next level, it's not all about the whether I can put the ball in the basket or I can box out hard or whatever. I need to also be a leader on the floor and be able to captain the ship.
And it's also kind of the start of like if you're that way on the court, but you're also turning that way into like, it could lead you into, where you're going to go to college, for it'll maybe make you a better player. And it also, and it will do this because I've seen people that do it. It's could lead you into your career after high school, after college, into when you're trying to find a job and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
It just does it seem like just you've been just more just outgoing through basketball and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like basketball's always been a way for me to kind of express myself almost in a way, and kind of if I have a problem, oh, I can just go shoot, or well, school is stressing me out, I'll just go play with my teammates or something. So almost trying to be that person on the court is also, like you said, helping me be that person off the court and really step into that role as a person instead of a player.
Yeah. Okay. So, I know this season, I mean, through the first part of the season, I know it was kind of like you won a couple games, you lost a couple games, all that, but you were also trying to figure out where everybody was. What was that like? What was those first few months like for you to, kind of get everything together?
It was very it was difficult at first. We have a bunch of guys who are stepping into new roles and their games are evolving, so they want to sometimes people want to branch out and do their own thing. So kind of just all sticking together as a one is the most important thing that we could have done. And I think the first couple of games we all had to really figure out our roles and how we're going to help the team best win. And then later on this new year, we've seemed to brought together and got a little streak going.
Okay, so you know, what was like, when I know the last 2 weeks of the year is always like, there could be a few games. There could, I mean, I've seen there's a couple teams this year that didn't even play a game through like the 20th all the way till, up till last week. Um, you know, I know you did play a couple games, but what was that like to kind of, not do a lot?
It was definitely it was a good change of pace. I think the start of the season hit a lot of people hard with like the practices every day because some kids didn't play AAU or they don't maybe play as much as other kids on the team do. So it's tough with school to kind of juggle both those things. So to get that break, I think really helped almost reset everyone, especially me, and just kind of get your head right and get your body right. Just make sure you're 100% going into next year.
Yeah. Okay, so heading into break, like is it was a good like a good change of pace to maybe slow down before this because once we get to because when we get to this part of the year where you're basically playing Tuesday and Friday, so was that good for you to just kind of like just kind of go off the grid for a little bit?
Yeah, it was definitely very beneficial. I had a lot of time to spend with family and my friends and catch up on everything and just kind of just relax almost in that time so I could be fully focused when I get back to the games and get back to playing.
Okay, let's talk about like your kind of your preparation for heading into a game, like when you're like let's say you're kind of getting ready for a game like home away, what do you do?
First thing I do, I get out of school and then I'll have a quick snack, probably yogurt or something, and then I'll go shoot for an hour before my game up at Oakland Fieldhouse on the gun, and then I'll shoot free throws after my game or after my shoot on the gun. And then I have to get my pregame meal, which is always a tropical smoothie before the game. And then I'll head to the gym around 5:30 for our 7 o'clock game, and that's when real preparation starts. Well, I'll see the trainer and I'll get my calves taped. I'll roll out, I'll stretch, and I'll just get mentally locked in for the game.
Yeah. Um, so I know that like, what do you like what do you typically like do like, minutes before everyone's in the locker room, everyone's getting ready. Is it, could be loose or or do you just kind of like, okay, I just need to be by myself for a while?
I mean, there really is no. I can be by myself, but I like to be with the team and kind of just get the guys going, get everyone ready for the game. But personally, I like to visualize the game and almost see it in my head before I play it, so I can help best myself in the game.
Yeah. Okay, so I know if you've been paying attention to what Rochester's been doing since the new year started, I mean, of course, you've won the last 5 games. You got a big game coming up. You got a lot of big games coming up. What do you feel like you guys need to do, really throughout the next few weeks, to kind of keep this momentum going?
I think it all comes down to what we can control in the games. I believe we are a very good team, and like our coach always says, we're in the driver's seat. So I think we really hone in these next couple weeks in practice and worry about just the small intangibles of the game, whether that's just no turnovers or always being in your gap, talking on defense, stuff like that. I think we should come out on top on many of these games.
Yeah. All right. Let's Max, let's get to know you a little bit. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, bet what was the best game you've had this year, you think? Just this could be like, doesn't have to be like, yeah, you don't have to go off the stat sheet, but just like most memorable game for Max this year.
Most memorable would have to be at home versus Bloomfield Hills. They were first in the league, and we just came off of I believe we came off the game right before was a tough loss to Pontiac. So that game we came out and we just turned on the gas right away. I think I want to say 23 and 4 that game. So it was a good game for us, but it was a great team win. I mean, our defense was very good. Were talking. Everyone was high hopes, good spirits, and I think that was probably the most memorable I had.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Like what's a typical year like for Max?
Typical year, I'll have before the season, it will be all AAU. So that May we'll start AAU. I'll be doing workouts, lifting, getting my body right all up until then, and then I'll hit AAU season, which will also be many college camps, just getting in front of as many college coaches as I can, and then once that spring season of AAU is almost done, I'll go right into June ball for high school with my team, whether that's camps or games at Oakland or whatever it is. And then coming right off of that, we'll have July, which is the biggest AU kind of stretch there right there. We'll have many tournaments out of town, out of state, whatever. And then August will come back, and that will be August, September, many camps, maybe 1 to 2 tournaments for AAU, but mostly just camps and workouts with coaches at the next level, trying to get in front of many faces and many opinions as I can.
Yeah. And finally, outside of basketball, outside of school, what do you like to do?
I mean, basketball is pretty much all I do, but outside of it, I like to really just spend time with my friends, whether that's going to like Top Golf or I like to cars a lot. That's one of my probably my biggest hobbies. I love cars, anything about them.
We're just
Um,
working on them, driving them.
well, I don't know that much about them, but I mean, driving them, that's probably my favorite. But really just anything. That's probably my biggest like
Yeah.
hobby outside of it.
Okay. All right. All right, Max. Thank you so much for the time as always, and
Yes, sir. Thank you.
best of luck against Stony Creek.
Thank you for having me.